You know, it's kind of crazy to make this video today because I love Joe Dispenza. I think he's a pioneer, but I actually stopped using his formula, and that's when I finally healed. I want to break it down today because there's a few things I disagree with on the path to healing there that actually made me get stuck, stopped me from being able to express my natural healing. And it is because of that that I wanted to make this video. It will not one size fits all. And that's why in my coaching, I've been doing a lot more, and in my own journey, trying to individualize the process. Is there a one formula fits all? I don't agree, because it's elevated emotions, forced gratitude, trying to feel a certain way when you don't naturally feel that way. Whereas I've tended to now face it with the part of I let go of all the parts that are holding me back. See, instead of adding something to myself, I decided to let go of the parts of me that aren't serving me anymore. And this is when my life started to actually transform. Because what I realized, and if you are watching this video, I realized that through the grace of God, I'm made perfect and whole. I'm made in the likeness and image of the divine. So the ways that I've connected with it, I've gone more back to the simplicity of God and divinity. I've taken out all of the needing to know all the scientific reasons behind it. Now, do not get me wrong. Some people need to hear that it is telomeres. After meditating, my telomeres increase, gives me a better life. After meditating, the cell membrane starts to not allow the virus in. After meditating, you know what I'm saying? The quantum field, quantum flux, this, that, the other. And for me, it was like, it's too much knowledge, not enough application. And what it is the formula and trying to understand all that, I'm suddenly trying to become a scientist when my body has naturally healed me for years and years and years. The question is, why has it stopped now? Or why has it got into this pattern now? And if it isn't something you're born with, in essence, then we can look at that. That's a different video for a different day. But if it's something that's come along, like you suddenly got high blood pressure, you now have arthritic pains in your knees, your hip isn't working well, you created a liver disease. There's always something that we can connect it to from the past. Now, obviously with Joe Dispenza as well, he says, you know, we don't go back to the past. I don't like going back to the past because the present is going to show you how you actually feel. But sometimes it's interesting to understand where we picked it up from. So touching on the past is actually a powerful way to see what has happened. So what I did is I revisited the things that happened to me, and I sat with the problem without judgment. So instead of now trying to add gratitude onto it, and when I was in the height of my chronic pain, you know, I had chronic throat pain, and it was just so every day, it was just so there. And I was still performing every night on stage in Jersey Boys in London. When I had that chronic throat pain, it's like no amount of me could muster the energy to get to gratitude because I was too depressed. I couldn't elevate my emotions no matter how much I went into the field of nothingness. So my point there is sometimes you have to realize that that stuff that's coming up is something that's on you. And it was that realization that I don't need to overcome it. I just need to let it go. And there's a lot less pressure in that, because actually what you start to realize is that there's a wholeness already in me. So what it was with Joe Dispenza's work, that it started to make me think that I had to become worthy. And this is the thing, you're worthy now. So he would say things like, you know, showing up every day to meditate makes you start to feel worthy of healing. And actually it was like, well, what am I doing wrong? You know, someone goes to a 7-day retreat and they're healed. I'm meditating 2 or 3 hours a day and nothing's changing. And what it is because I didn't make it a lifestyle. So what it is when it comes to healing with me, it's not about 2 hours a day meditating. It's not about elevating your emotions. It's not about feeling gratitude even though you feel stuck. All of that can come secondary. You start to face the parts of you that you are denying. And this sounds paradoxical to most spiritual teachers, but stop ignoring your problems. Instead, face the energy that comes up with them. So I would get frightened to feel negative, but negativity is fantastic. It's a brilliant indicator of where you are on your connection to reality. So when my body's having an anxiety attack, it's trying to tell me something. It's saying you don't feel safe in this moment. So I can't then force the feeling of safety on top of that anxiety. What I can do though is detach back from that anxiety and realize that there's an awareness in me that sees that anxiety. It sees the anxiety and it isn't it. So I'm not anxious. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not even my body. It's all an extension of the consciousness that's there within me, my friends. So the more that I started to stop trying to add to myself and just let go of the parts of me that weren't serving, suddenly the healing came. Now, when it comes to my chronic throat pain, I remember sitting there one day in this room with a wonderful acting coach of mine, and we both were very spiritual, and we went to the pain instead of trying to ignore it like I had done for a year and a half. And I sat with it and I cried my eyes out, my friends. I mean, I bawled my eyes out. I apologized at the end to the poor woman, you know. And I thought, I've done it. I've let it go. But I still had the pain. An hour later, it came back. And that frustrated me. But then 2 weeks later, it was fully gone. So you see, the body also, you have to realize, and from what we hear from these testimonials, is they had a meditation, they woke up healed. Sometimes everyone's journey is different. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes with the formula there's a pressure to elevate, to become something, to step up. But we have to remember, when we look at the true spiritual texts, we are made perfect and whole. We are made in the likeness and image of God. We have a loving God who asks us to surrender all of our woes to it or him, or however you express it. Surrender to that. Surrender it over. That's the whole point of letting go. And God is my shepherd. I shall not want. That's the point. It's like I'm guided. It's now time to let go. We take too much personal responsibility in the formula, in my opinion, where it is a divine energy that heals us. Now, there's some people here who are going to say, I disagree with you totally, and that's absolutely fine, because it's never one size fits all. It's what connects with you. But I found finding deep inner peace, letting go of my fears and anxieties by becoming the observer, then claiming health and harmony through the grace and divinity of God is what has expressed me to live this life I live now. And whenever there's a problem, I surrender to that divine nature. I never try and sit there and elevate myself to the next level. When I want to take my life to another level, I sit with the idea and normalize it so that the elevated emotions don't have to be there anymore. It's the most natural place I've been. Just remember, rich people do not think about money. Healthy people do not think about health. They just are that. So remember, when we go back to other teachers like Neville Goddard, he said, when did I say it was about emotion? And that's what people make the mistake of. It was about acceptance. So peace helps us to get clarity, helps us to accept a new idea. And this is why I've made this video today. I hope it helped. I'll see you at the next one.